Hi everyone, thanks for joining this webinar today presented by the WHA Virtual Library. I'm Tyler Ostapik, a librarian with the WHA Virtual Library, and today I'm going to talk to you about finding government information. There's a lot of government information out there, so I'm going to focus today on some of the resources that may be useful to Canadian healthcare professionals, but this should also be helpful for finding government information more generally. Just a reminder that this session is being recorded. The recording, as well as a copy of the slides, will be shared with you after the presentation. If you have questions, there's a questions option in the GoToWebinar box, which should be on the right-hand side of your screen. Feel free to enter your questions at any time, and there'll also be some time at the end for any additional questions you might have. Before we dive into finding government information, I'm going to briefly mention the WHA Virtual Library services available to you. Then I'm going to discuss some of the characteristics of government information, as well as some of the challenges we encounter when trying to find it. After that, I'll show you some useful government info sources and describe some resources that may help you find government information more easily. If you're a WHA staff from an eligible community health agency or from an eligible personal care home, you have a number of electronic resources and library services available to you through the WHA Virtual Library. This includes access to a number of different information tools and resources, as well as literature searches, document delivery, and education training sessions like this one today. So government information has a number of characteristics that can make it more difficult to find than other sources of information, such as books or journal articles. You may have heard the term gray literature before. A lot of government information definitely falls into this category because the information government agencies and departments produce isn't typically released through traditional publishers. Gray literature isn't publicized as often as traditional literature or made as widely available, which can make it difficult to find and access. Government information is also often siloed. The information produced by a government agency or department is often made available through their own website, which means finding useful info on a topic can involve having to consult a number of different individual government sites. Unless you're already aware of the resources available, finding something on a specific topic can be difficult, as there isn't always a central source for information on a specific topic from various departments or levels of government. Also, because practices and standards for treating information can vary between different levels of government and departments, there can be significant differences in how information is arranged and accessed. Even if you're aware of the various websites you need to consult, you may need to take a different approach to find information on each site. For example, one government site may have a search function to identify publications on a topic, whereas another may require you to browse through a list. Another example, the information you may need also may be found in a report on one site, but in a downloadable data file on another site. Government information is also impermanent. Although governments are getting better at archiving and maintaining their information, as departments change and websites are redesigned, information can be lost in the transition and sources of information can disappear. On that note, the Wayback Machine is a really useful tool if you have a URL for a government page that is no longer working, or you want to view information from an old web page that has been updated. You can put in any URL, and if the site has been previously crawled, you'll be able to view what it looked like on the day it was crawled. So for example, we have here the URL for the Public Health Agency of Canada, and we can look at July 2018 and see what the Public Health Agency of Canada was saying about the Ebola virus at the time. So that's a really neat tool if you're looking for outdated information that's no longer available on the current website. There are several different types of government information sources available. There are statutes, regulations, and laws, which are official written enactments of government bodies. There are policies and procedures, which document internal decisions and practices. These are generally primarily written for an internal audience, though some are written with the intention for them to be shared more publicly. There are publications and reports, which are formal releases of research findings or other information aimed at a broad audience. And there are statistics, which are collections of government data. Government data can be made available in a number of different formats and can be very useful for people who want to conduct their own research on a particular topic using data that's been collected by the government. I'll now be going through some examples of each of these types and identifying some useful resources for each of them. There are a number of resources available for finding laws, regulations, and acts and other related documentation at various levels. One of these is the Canada Gazette. This is the official newspaper of the Government of Canada. It contains new and proposed statutes, regulations, administrative board decisions, public acts of parliament, and public notices. You can search for a specific item by keyword or phrase. So for example, we could search for COVID, and then we have here at the bottom an amendment to the Quarantine Act that added COVID-19, and we could click through and see the act itself. The Justice Laws website is another source of information pertaining to Canadian acts. It provides access to the consolidated acts and regulations of Canada. The House of Commons Hansard contains the official transcripts of the debates in the House of Commons and Senate. The House of Commons Index allows you to identify transcripts on a specific subject and choose a specific session of Parliament. So here I've selected the healthcare system in the second session of the 35th Parliament. And if I was interested in, say, early prevention programs, I could click on that, and it brings me to the section of the transcript where early prevention programs were mentioned. As an alternative to the index, you can also search the House of Commons Hansard from 2001 onwards using the House of Commons publication search. The Canadian Senate also has a Hansard, and recent debates can be searched there by keyword. In terms of provincial acts and regulations, there is the Manitoba Laws site. This site makes Manitoba acts and regulations available free of charge. It can be searched for acts and regulations on a specific topic. So for example, we could search for midwifery, and we see the results include the Midwifery Act. If we're interested in that, we could click through. And we see here the date the act came into effect. As well, at the top, it tells you whether it's the official version. So this HTML version isn't the official version of the Midwifery Act, but it does say if you need an official copy, you can use the bilingual PDF version. So that's just something to keep an eye out for if you're looking for an official act. Similar to the federal government, there's also a Manitoba Legislative Assembly Hansard, which is arranged by date and also indexed by subject. For other provinces, you can consult individual websites for the province, or you can use CanLII. On CanLII, using the primary law section at the top, you can select a province. So we could select New Brunswick, for example. And then right at the top here, you have a link to all of the consolidated statutes for the province of New Brunswick. In terms of municipal laws, they can usually be found on a city's individual website. The City of Winnipeg website has a list of bylaws which can be searched. And the City of Winnipeg website also includes a council Hansard that provides transcripts from city council meetings. Policies can be a bit more difficult to find as they're usually included on separate websites for individual governments, agencies, and departments. The Government of Canada has a list of links to policies, regulations, and laws by department or agency, which can be useful. There's also a federal department and agency list of websites that can be helpful if you're looking for policies from a specific department or agency and don't know where to start. The Government of Canada also maintains a list of links to websites for provincial governments. You can click on the flag, which will bring you to the website for the provincial government, or you can click on the budget link to gain access to budgetary information for the province. The Manitoba government also maintains lists of links to departments as well as departmental annual reports. Again, for policies and procedures of municipal governments, you'll likely need to consult the individual municipality's website. The City of Winnipeg has a helpful page that lists government policies and plans based on broad categories, and you can see here what that looks like. There are some useful resources for accessing publications and reports that means you may not have to browse individual government or departmental websites as you do for policy and procedure documents. At the federal level, the Government of Canada Publications resource can be useful. This is a catalog of every publication produced by the Canadian government. You can limit results by department, or there's also an advanced search function where you can search by department. So for example, if we're interested in long-term care, we could search it as a phrase using quotation marks, and we could search by the Department Health Canada. And here we get a list of results of publications produced by Health Canada on long-term care. And if we're interested in this publication, we could click through to gain access to that publication. The Public Health Agency of Canada website includes a list of their reports by major topic area. Some of these reports are discoverable through the more general Government of Canada publication search I just showed you, but if you're looking for publications on a specific health-related topic, this can be a useful resource. The digital collection of Manitoba government publications includes documents published by Manitoba government departments, agencies, boards, commissions, and independent offices of the Legislative Assembly, and also includes publications from Manitoba's book, magazine, and newspaper publishers. We could search this for COVID, for example, and again, there are filters on the left-hand side of the page if you find them useful, or you can scroll down to look for an item of interest. If we're interested in, say, this COVID-19 infections in Manitoba, we can click through, and you can see here the publication is available electronically, or you can get a physical copy at the Legislative Library. The Manitoba Health website contains a list of publications that might be of interest, in particular the annual report, population report, and annual statistics report may be useful. The City of Winnipeg Corporate Finance Documents webpage includes annual reports with demographic information, such as this, an economic forecast document, as well as summaries of recent public opinion surveys, and you can see some of those results here. Other city websites will generally contain similar information, such as annual reports for that city. In terms of statistics, the Statistics Canada website can be a useful resource. They have quite a bit of data that can be downloaded or viewed from their website. The site has a search function that allows you to limit your results to tables, profiles, maps, microdata, and data visualization resources using the tabs you can see here at the top of the results. The geography filter and the frequency filters on the left-hand side of the page can be especially helpful. And I would definitely suggest the geography filter if you're looking for data on a specific area in Canada and you want to narrow down your search. The open data inventory can also be helpful for identifying the types of data available. This is an inventory of all open data currently available through federal government departments. This inventory includes a neat feature, well, I think it's pretty cool, that lets users vote on prioritizing the release of data sets. And you can see the results of the votes on the right-hand side of the page here. You can search this HTML list, or you can download it in CSV format. Library and Archives Canada makes public opinion research reports available through their website. Within 6 months after the completion of any data collection done for the purposes of public opinion research, federal government departments must submit a report to Library and Archives Canada, and many of these submissions contain the report data in the form of CSV files, which can be opened in Excel. So for example, we could search here for the Department of Health Canada and for the keyword COVID, and we get a list of public opinion research reports. We could click through on one of the reports of interest, and you have the report itself here in HTML and PDF format, as well as the data in CSV format. And if we click on this link, it brings us to the raw data that was used for the report. In terms of federal government sources, there's also Public Health Infobase. Infobase offers a selection of easy-to-use tools for visualizing public health data, but also allows you to download the data through the tools. Examples include a Cancer in Canada tool, a risk factor analysis tool, which you can see here, a chronic disease surveillance tool, a chronic disease indicators tool, and a health inequities tool. And as you can see, many of these tools are interactive, so they have these drop-down menus here. For this tool, I could filter by health region or by gender, and you can also download both the map data and the graph data. So it's a really neat source for interactive data tools, but you can download the data as well, which is great. For provincial statistics, the Manitoba Bureau of Statistics is a good source. This is the Manitoba Government Central Statistics Agency. You can browse the site by key category and look at statistical reports as well as the raw data related to each category. And you can sort by report type here on the left if you're looking for data tables or maps or bulletins or a specific type of information. The City of Winnipeg Open Data Portal includes an interactive tool for looking at the city's open capital projects, as well as the catalog of City of Winnipeg datasets. You can search the catalog. So for example, we could search COVID, and when you see a data set of interest, say we're interested in this potential COVID-19 exposures, you can click through. It provides a bunch of information about the data set. It allows you to export the data in a number of different formats, including RDF and XML. And a neat feature is if you scroll to the bottom of the page, you can see a preview of the data in a table. There are a few resources available that combine the various types of government information we've already discussed, or allow you to search for a specific type of information across various government sources. One of these is the Internet Archive Canadian Government Publications portal. The Internet Archive has digitized more than 20,000 Canadian government publications and made them freely available online through this portal. It includes provincial and federal publications and allows you to limit results by specific creators on the left-hand side of the page here. The Federal Science Libraries Network is a one-stop self-serve portal where you can search repositories of 7 science-based departments and agencies, libraries including Health Canada and the Public Health Agency of Canada. The portal includes publications, reports, datasets, and other content. The Government of Canada's Open Government portal contains more than 30,000 open data and information assets. The portal is generally described as sort of 2 separate portals, an open data portal and an open information portal, but you search them together through one interface. You can filter by type of resource on the left-hand side if you're looking for one format or publication type. So, for example, if we're looking for flu data, we can search for influenza and limit it to just data set. The Gallup portal is a one-stop access point to searchable electronic government documents collected by legislative libraries in Canada for their jurisdictions. It includes several provincial legislative libraries. Some libraries only provide certain types of materials, and not all of the items in this portal are available to view online as full text. You can consult the scope page you see here to see what's available from each library. You can filter results by source when you search, which is convenient if you're looking for information from one province. As a not-for-profit Crown corporation, the information from the Canadian Institute for Health Information might not technically be government information, but it can be a really useful resource, especially for health information. CIHI uses a lot of government data in their work and makes some of the data they have compiled from provincial and federal governments available on their website. CIHI also has reports based on the analysis of government data sources on a variety of health-related subjects. You sometimes have to do a bit of digging on the site to find the information you're looking for, but it's usually worth the effort. There's a search function that allows you to filter by geography and file format, which can be helpful for narrowing down your search. So for example, if we were looking for nursing data, we can search for nursing and then limit to Excel file types and zip files. And you see here there are a number of different data tables on nursing available through CIHI. There are several institutions at the provincial level that do similar work. Examples include the Manitoba Centre for Health Policy, the Institute for Clinical Evaluative Sciences in Ontario, and PopData BC. And lastly, Google can also be a good first step when starting to look for government information. You can use quotation marks when looking for a specific phrase. And you can also limit your search to a specific site by using site:/URL. So for example, the search we have here is looking for mentions of the phrase methadone maintenance on Government of Canada websites. You can also limit to a specific file type by using file type and the type you're looking for. So for example, we could use file type PDF, and we're now looking for PDFs on Government of Canada websites that include the phrase methadone maintenance. Thanks for attending today, and I hope you feel more prepared to seek out government information in the future. I encourage you to sign up for future webinars that might be of interest. You can find them on our website. And please remember that both the slides and a recording of this presentation will be shared with you in the next few days. If you have any questions, add them to the chat now, or feel free to send me an email. I'll stick around for a bit to see if there are any questions. And thanks again. Have a great day.